warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Shofia Pratiwi. My NPM is 2113042009. I'm from Collegers in University of Lampung. My major is English department in class A. I made this video to fulfill my UAS assessment in the intermediate listening course. This video contains Q&A and a summary of the videos that have been watched. The first question is, who is the speaker in this video? She is Nual Hadaki. The second question is, what is the theme discussed by the speaker? The time is now. You know how long it takes to change your life. The third question is, in become the best version of yourself. There are good habits that must exist within yourself. How long does it take for new habits to form in us? How long will it take you to form a new habit or get rid of an old one? Most people will tell you it takes exactly 21 days for a person to form a habit or get rid of an old one. And the question, who is the author of a book containing the theory about 21 days of forming new habits? The author is Dr. Maltz. He published his theory in a book that very famous in that era and sold over 30 million copies. And here the conflict started brewing and it made sense why people were starting to believe his theory. And the last question is, there are several factors involved in forming this new habit. What are these factors? The factors are, number one is the complexity of your goals. The meaning is, if I decide to start eating fruit daily, which is considered a simple habit, I'd probably take less time than if I want to acquire a complex athletic skill like a tennis server. And number two is behavior consistency affect the speed of execution as repeating a certain behavior for 3 minutes a day is different than my friend repeating the same behavior for 30 minutes in a day. So we want to clear things up. How long will it take us to form a new habit or get rid of an old one? And the summary from this video is, tomorrow is the day I will change. Tomorrow is the day I will get up early in the morning, have a healthy breakfast, go for a morning jog, breathe fresh air. Tomorrow is the day I want to change to who I really want to be, the best version of myself. While change doesn't come easy, you have to incorporate certain habits in your life. You'll also have to eliminate certain habits that are hindering your path. Well, how long will I take you to form a new habit or get rid of an old one? Most people will tell you it takes exactly 21 days for a person to form a habit or get rid of an old one. Let's dive a little into our theory to understand where the number 21 came from and the reason for its spirit in self-developmental books and authors. Dr. Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon in the 1950s when he began noticing a starch pattern among his patients. For example, in a nose job, He saw the patient took exactly 21 days to get used to starting saying his or her new nose, the feeling of their new line for exactly 21 days before starting to get used to their new condition. Dr. Miles published his theory in a book that went very famous in that era and sold over 30 million copies. And here, the conflict started brewing, and it made sense why people were starting to believe his story. And the second video, the first question is who is the speaker in this video? She is Rosalind Dane Torres. The second question is what is the theme discussed by the speaker? The theme is what it takes to a great leader. And the third question is in this video, there are three things that can be evidence and define leadership in the 21st 21st century. What are these things? The first is there is a leadership team that does a practice where they bring together each member collecting and they share this and then make decision to course correct strategy or to anticipate a new move. The second is about your capacity to develop relationship with people that are very different than you. Third answer is go along to get along. Great leaders there are to be different. They don't just talk about restocking, they actually do it. And the fourth question is what are the things that can hinder a leader? A leader who relies on traditional development practices will hinder his or her growth as a leader. In fact, traditional assessment like narrow 360 surveys or updated performance criteria will give you a false positive, making you think you're better prepared than you really are. And the last is from the explanation in this video, what is great leader in a 21st century? There are women or men who are preparing themselves not for the comfortable predictability of yesterday but also for the realities of today and all of the unknown possibility of tomorrow. The summary from this video, leadership in this 21st century is defined and evident by three questions answer. The first with the answer theirs is a leadership team that does a practice where they bring together each member, collecting here and trends that impact me. Here are trends that impact another team member and they share this and then make decision to course correct strategy or anticipate a new move. Great leaders are not head down, they see around corners shaping their future, not just reacting to it. The second answer is about your capacity to develop relationship with people that are very different than you. Great leaders understand that having more different new network is a source of pattern identification at greater level and also of solution because you have people that are thinking differently than you are. Third answer is go along to get along. Great leaders dare to be different. They don't just talk about risk taking, they actually do it. They're often people that think differently and therefore are willing to join you in taking a courageous leap. And it's a leap, not a step. So, what makes a great leader in the 21st century? I've met many, and they stand out. There are women and men who are preparing themselves not for the comfortable predictability of yesterday, but also for the realities of today and all of those unknown possibility of tomorrow. Third video, and the first question is, who is the speaker in this video? She is Dawn Risa. The second question is, what is the theme discussed by the speaker? The theme is the origins of blackface and black stereotypes. And the third question is, what does blackface mean in this video? Blackface is where white actors would blacken their face with burnt cork, paint, or bright red lips, exaggerate the whiteness of their eyes, and put on tightly colored wig to create caricatures of American and African on the American stage. In this video, there is an abolitionist named Frederick Douglass who describes blackface material. What is he describing? The abolitionist Frederick Douglass to describe blackface material as the flat scum of white society who have stolen from us a compassion they need them by nature. And the last question is, what is the legacy of the singer blackface in this video? Legacy of blackface minstrelsy is our sad history and requires all of us to take collective responsibility in this dismantling its power to oppress and humiliate. And the summary of this video: blackface minstrelsy originated in New York and north the South, as a lot of people would think. In the 1830s, it was an accident where white actors who blackened their faces with burnt cork, paint on bright red lips, exaggerate the whiteness of their eyes, and put on a tightly coiled wig to create caricatures of African American on the American stage. The typical minstrel show was a parody of the culture, song, and then dance and speech interspersed with some speeches, jokes, musical interludes, and theatrical skits. The sketches include a roster of recurring characters. The interlocutor acted as the image. You had Mr. Tambo and Mr. Bonus as the Ant-Man. Then you also had characters like the clownish slave Jim Crow, which was also the name of the Jim Crow laws that we note in the American South, or the maternal mommy, a hypersexualized wench and arrogant dandy, the coon and the lazy childish Sambo. Blackface naturally grew to be the most popular form of American entertainment in the um, in the 19th century. Abraham Lincoln and Mark Twain spoke highly of the American minstrel. so applauding the characterization and the sort of its humor. But just as internet, it also dehumanized the subjects of Enrico Douglas, leaving the abolitionist Frederick Douglass to describe blackface menstrual as the filthy scum of white society who have stolen from us a complication they need them by nature. The way it infiltrated society is a clear example of how deeply ingrained racism is in this country, and the racial subjugation embedded by blackface menstrually and perpetuated through a continuum of its history is a form of aggression of psyche who the refers to heal the legacy of blackface menstrually is our story and required all of us to take collective responsibility in dismantling its power to oppress and humility. The fourth video, the first question is who is the speaker in this video? The speaker is Sanon Oldel. The second question it was is the theme discussed by the video, the speaker. The theme is how love changes your brain. And the third question is in this video explains about the first stage of love. How does this video describe the first stage of love? The first stage of love is what psychologists call infatuational or passionate love. Your new relationship can feel almost intoxicating, and when it comes to the brain, that's not far from the truth. And the fourth question is this video explain about FTA. So what is FTA? The FTA is the reward processing and the motivation of the brain firing when you do things like eat a sweet treat, quench your thirsty, or in more extreme cases take drug of abuse. And the last question is in this video explain about stress when your heart is broken. What are some time activities that can relieve the stress of a broken heart? Activities like exercise, spending time with friends, or even listening to your favorite song can tame this heartbreak stress response while also triggering the release of the feel-good neurotransmitter dopamine. The summary from this video is love is often described as heartwarming, and even heartbreaking. The first stage of love is what psychologists call infatuation or passionate love. Your new relationship can feel almost intoxicating, and when it comes to the bride, that's not far from the truth. The FDA is the reward processing and motivational move of the brain firing when you do things like eat the sweet, eat a sweet treat, quench your thirst, or in more extreme cases take drugs of abuse. Further, oxytocin can inhibit the release of stress hormones, which is why spending time with a loved one can feel so relaxing. The distress of a breakup activities the insular cortex, a region that processes pain both physical like spraining your ankle, as well as social, like the feelings of rejection. As time goes on, higher cortical regions, which offers reasoning and impulse control, can pump the brakes on this distress and craving signaling. Given that these regions are still maturing and making connection to adolescence, it's a wonder the first heartbreak can feel particularly organizing. Activities like exercise, spending time with friends, or even listening to your favorite song can tame this heartbreak stress response, while also triggering the release of the feel-good neurotransmitter, the dopamine. And given time and the sport, most can heal and learn from even the most devastating heartbreak. Fifth video, the first question is, who is the speaker in this video? The speaker is Lisa Bu. And the second question, it was the theme discussed by the speaker. The theme is how books can open your mind. And the third question is, when the speaker first arrived in America, what is the first book she read? The speaker arrived in America in 1995. So what books the speaker reads first were books banned in China. Of course, The God Earth is a book about the life of Chinese farmers. And then in the question, the speaker also read book about spiritual, namely Christ and Buddha. What are the things that should be avoided in both religions? The Christ, the temptation are economic, political, and spiritual. For the Buddha, they are also psychological, loss, fear, and social duty. What is the important point conveyed by the speaker in the video? In this, the last question, its most important purpose is to get us in touch with where dreams to come from, where passion come from, when happiness come from. And even a short red dream can do that for you. The summary from this video is, I was inspired to study abroad after reading this. I come to the USA in 1995. So which books did I read first? Is book banned in China, of course. The God Earth is about Chinese prison life that does not convince from propaganda encouraging a new culture. Also started my habit of comparative reading. For example, she found this map of the place at first because this is what Chinese students grew up with. A map actually carries somebody's view. For example, both the Christ and the Buddha went taught three temptations. For the Christ, the temptations are economic, political, and spiritual. For the Buddha, they are all psychological, loss, fear, and social duty. So if you know a foreign language, it's also fun to read your favorite book into languages instead of lost in translation. I found there is much to again. I have to come to believe that coming true is not the only purpose of dream. Its most important purpose is to get us in touch with where dreams come from, where passion comes from, where happiness comes from. Even a started dream can do that for you. Video, the first question is, Who is the speaker in this video? The speaker is Sharon Horace Berquist. And the second question is, what is the theme discussed by the speaker? The theme is how stress affects your body. The third question is, what is the meaning of stress in this video? Stress is a feeling we all experience when we are challenged or overwhelmed, but more than just an emotion. Stress is a hardwired physical response that travels throughout your entire body. And the fourth question is, does chronic stress affect with circumferences? Yes, caustic um, cortisol can increase your appetite. It tells your body to replenish your urgency stores with energy, dense foods and carbohydrates, causing you to crave comfort foods. And the last question in this video, explain the impact of chronic stress on body problem. Apart from having an impact on the body, is there anything else? uh, Chronic stress has even more ways it can sabotage your health, including acne, hair loss, sexual dysfunction, headaches, muscle tension, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and irritability. Summary from this video is, stress is a feeling we all experience when we are challenged or overwhelmed, but more than just an emotion. Stress is hardwired physical response that travels throughout your entire body. Your adrenal gland releases the stress hormones cortisol, epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, and norepinephrine, and adrenaline causes your heart to beat faster and raises your blood pressure over time, causing hypertension. When your brain senses stress, it activates your autonomic nervous system. To this new network of nerve connection, your big brain communicates stress to your enteric or essential nervous system. Speaking of digestion, does chronic stress affect your waistline? Yes, classic. Cortisol can increase your appetite. It tells your body to replenish your energy stores with energy dense food and carbohydrates, causing you to crave comfort foods. High level of cortisol can also cause you to put on the extra calories as visceral or deeply fat, as if that weren't enough. Chronic stress has even more ways it can sabotage your health, including acne, hair, hair loss, sexual dysfunction, headaches, muscular tension, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and irritability. So, what does all this mean for you? Your life will always be filled with stressful situation, but what matters to you, brain and entire body, is how you respond to that stress. If you can view the situation as challenges you can control and master, rather than threats that are insurmountable, you will perform better in the short run and stay healthy in the long run. Seventh video, the first question is, who is the speaker in this video? The speaker is the receivers. The second question, it was is the theme discussed by the speaker. The theme is keep your goals to yourself. The third question is what is meant by social reality in this video. The social reality is you tell someone your goal and they acknowledge it, psychologists have found. And the fourth question is who is the author of the book that write a book about keep your goals to yourself. In uh, 19 1982, Peter Goldweiser wrote a whole book about this, and in uh, 2009 he did some new tests that were published. And the last question is what should we do to keep your goals to yourself in this video. Well, you could resist the temptation to announce your goal. You can delay the gratification that the social acknowledgement brings, and you can understand that your mind mistakes the taking for the doing. But if you do need to talk about something, you can state it in a way that gives you no justification. Uh, the After that is the summary. The summary from this video is the repeated psychology tests have proven that telling someone new goals make it less likely to happen. Anytime you have a goal, there are some steps that need to be done, some work that needs to be done in order to achieve it. Ideally, you would not be satisfied until you'd actually done the work. But when you tell someone your goal and they acknowledge it, psychologists have found that it called a social reality. The mind is kind of tricked into feeling that it already don't, and then because you felt that satisfaction, you're less motivated to do the actual hard work necessary. So in 1982, Peter Gotter wrote a whole book about this, and in 2009 he did some new tests that were published. It goes like this. 163 people across 4 separate tests. Everyone wrote down their personal goals, and half of them announced their commitment to this goal to the room, and half didn't. Everyone was given 45 minutes of what they would directly lead towards their goals, but they were told that they could stop at any time. Now, those who keep their mouths shut or cut the entire 45 minutes on average, and when asked afterward, said that they felt that they had a long way to go still to achieve their goals. But those who had announced it quit after only 30, 30, 33 minutes and average, and when asked afterward said that they felt much closer to achieving their goals. So if this is true, what can we do? Will you could resist the temptation to announce your goals? You can delay the gratification that the social acknowledgement brings, and you can understand that you may mistake the taking for the doing. But if you do need to talk about something, you can state it in a way that given you to satisfaction. I think that's all for me. Thank you for watching.